All right, Axel. This is the engine that I'm thinking we're going to use for yours. But you wanted a video, or you wanted a photo, so I figured I just video this one real quick. So I'm assuming you were talking about that guy, because that's the block off. That's what yours should have. The 8.9s usually indicate the 8790, but that's not always foolproof. So we'll definitely still run the numbers on this guy, block codes, whatnot. I'll double check, obviously, that that's metric like you asked. And then we'll just dismantle it, make sure that it obviously hasn't been bored over or anything wiped out in it. A lot of times these guys have low compression. You know what? This block, you can see it right there, that little heat tab, that might be a really good block, but that also might indicate that it's been rebuilt, and it's hard to say. I mean, we'll have to get in there. I'll still check it and make sure that it's obviously not been bored over. But I have a couple backups. There's another one here. That one's got the valve cover cracked on it, but it should be oh, see this guy? There you go there. And you got, now we're back to the 5 series part number. So this is definitely going to be probably a 90 or 91. 87 is 90 is the way we list that block. But as you can see, and I was kind of trying to explain this, this is where you'll differentiate on the two. The other way that kind of gives these away, and this is 89, but I know what this one is off of, is that this one is a normal distributor, whereas that one's got vacuum advanced, so you can tell that's a little bit early for that guy. Otherwise, they're kind of hard to tell apart. They both have plastic valve covers versus the later ones have aluminum. And I know there's none in there. There's another one here. This one of these, and we'll take a look. This one might be the easiest one to go after right now, just because it's almost done anyway. And we can at least check it out. As far as cylinders, this one's pretty bad looking, but we'll hot see it, clean it up, and see. Obviously, make sure there's no holes in these things, because these four, you can see them around here when they go bad. This one's another one here. That may end up being, nope, that's going to be late too. So anyway, point is that I just wanted to show you. So we have a good size, good pick for them, but there's only a couple that are probably going to meet that metric you requested, and obviously not being stamped out any more than, you know, the standard size, and also checking out to make sure none of the bearing journals or anything like that have been wiped out in them, which, you know, that's what I was trying to explain. We'll do our due diligence and go through it. And I just, unfortunately on this one, you know, it looked good, and other than those things that you said, but I don't usually bore scope, you know, we don't usually do that on them, or excuse me, not that, I've been on an hour's sleep today, so we don't usually measure the cylinders all that often on one that's like 100% stock, because usually people are rebuilding them, and usually they're going to punch them out anyway. But I will get in the habit of doing that, and you're just going to have to be, you know, our learning lesson, but also we're going to eat some costs here, so it'll stick with us going forward. So, and then for anybody else who's wondering, I always make these videos in line of somebody, or lieu of somebody that kind of requested something. So essentially we shipped a block overseas, and everything was good on it, except for the fact that he was specifically looking for almost like a European block, because the early 87 and 90 blocks have some of them, not all of them, have some goofy things. Like, and one thing he was saying was the oil filter adapter is a metric versus standard thread. That's actually something I a long time ago, we knew, you know, we messed with that stuff, but not very often do we get people requesting that kind of, so it usually isn't a big thing. And then his other thing is, you know, he's got all his internals, and he doesn't want to have to buy all that stuff again. So he wanted, and a lot of international customers do this, just because resources are limited over the, you know, depending on where you're at. You know, Jeeps are obviously they're not all over the roads, and they're not in every junkyard. So anyway, so if you're looking for a Jeep core and you're wondering what you can expect from us, the only reason these are even out here right now is our Connex box is completely full, and it's a pretty dry climate we're in. We get a little bit of moisture, but not all that much. So anyway, the point is that, you know, we'll strip them down to a bare block, and those bare blocks, just so you know, when they do get, these I would almost imagine have, I bet if we flip these over, are going to have holes in the back of them that are completely done, but I'll have to look at those a little closer. But let me show you real quick. And Chris, we were going to look, why don't you go in there where you were looking? and see if there might be a spice colored lid, because there might be on one on another one, or just one laying in there. And I'll finish this up here. So when we do get them all tore down and cleaned up, and Jerry's our engine builder. He's phenomenal at being able to tell you if an engine's going to be viable to, you know, to fix or machine or whatever it is that we're trying to do. But you know, good engines go in here, especially these guys are all tested, running, driving, compression tested. This one, for example, is a 225. We bought this from a guy that said he had rebuilt it and got into it. We tore it all the way down because, you know, you just have to. I mean, if you're doing something, this is for a build we're doing right now. And it's apparent that it had gotten water in it at one time and sat in there. And then they went in and tried to braze the cylinder, and they pretty much that lower block is done. But it's got a good timing cover. The head's checked out. The intake manifold. A lot of those are rare parts. These are those old Dauntless hot fires. So, and then cranks, cylinder heads. These are all ones that we've checked out. So if you're ordering one from us, or you're looking for something, and you're wondering, you know, well, you know, do you just yank these things off and throw them on the shelf? No, these actually get, these are gone through. Now, I want to back up a little bit here, and I'm not trying to sell you or sell anybody that we're not saying you should have, you know, cylinder heads, for example, they shouldn't have decks. You shouldn't have, you know, something looked at or that. All it means is that we've checked them for cracks, against warpage. You know, if the engine's been hot, and usually there's some indicators you can look at. I mean, not always, but then those end up just in the scrap. So these have been that way, and a couple of these are some goofy ones that have come off some foreign trucks we did a couple years ago. I think looks like there's a couple 3.6 cylinder heads with intakes here, a couple blocks, and I might. This is the other thing too I wanted to show you actually, is that I'll have to look at these guys. Obviously, you can see 2.5 block there. These have been inspected, but I can't tell you just by looking at that skew on that metric versus standard thread. So I'll pull it out and we'll double check that first, because these are going to be the ones we'll go right at. We'll go into these immediately, and I'll photo it before and make sure these also have the caps and everything. These have been checked out in every other way, but we'll make sure that those other things you mentioned are indeed, you know, again, that metric versus standard. So we'll look at those first, and then if we have to go out to the core pile and dismantle something else, we will. 4.2 blocks. These are some good. These are actually, you could throw a head on some of these and get them going. This one's obviously completely, there's no crank or anything in it, but it's not too far. And then you got 304. I think there's a 360 sitting in here. Those are also good running later TJ motors here. And this is a really, I'm surprised this is still sitting here actually. This has got 39,000 miles. It was a complete rebuild the guy had done on an 83. It actually came out of an 84 Jeep. We not only did it run well when we got this Jeep in, but we did compression just to back up some of the paperwork he had on it. And this one came out to be 135 to 145, which is at our elevation exceptionally high on an old 4.2, regardless if it was rebuilt or not, because typically a used one, you're going to be around 115, give or take, or, you know, plus or minus 510. So, and then this is another block for anybody interested. This is a 3.6 Pentastar block. This was a boo-boo. I had a guy that was buying a set of cylinder heads. Chris, the guy you just met or seen, was supposed to pull it off of a core engine we had, and he dismantled the wrong block. And I wasn't there that day, so the heads went with that guy, and that's all we have. I mean, that's, so, you know, our kind of, this is a good block is what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, it was a good running engine, but, you know, mistakes happen. So, yeah, that basically does it. But give you an idea, I mean, there's everything. There's brackets, there's fuel rails, there's intake manifolds, exhaust manifolds, there's charcoal canisters, alternators. I mean, this looks small, but this is just tip of the iceberg as far as this 7-acre yard goes on our drivetrain components. You know, there's over 300 axles back here that we turn on a weekly basis. We're constantly taking and replenishing drive shafts. So anyway, engines are our main goal for this video here, and for you and for anyone else looking for specifically core builders. But if you're looking for or considering just, you know, throwing a block in something, And I'll leave you with this, you know, it's cool that you can do what you do, because 2.5s are getting, you know, I'm not gonna use the potty words right now because YouTube gets on me for it, but they're getting effing hard to get, okay? And I tell people when we get one in that runs, drives, we pull it, you know, grab this thing, because it won't be out here. We have like a 3-day window on a good running 2.5. I don't have any at the moment. They're extremely hard to get a hold of. And furthermore, they're pushed beyond their limits usually, so they're usually worn out even if they do run. So the fact that you can do this, and especially where you're at, it's awesome, man. I love it. You know, one of these days, and I kid you not, I've been doing this for 18 years. We just had a little baby, another little baby in January, but these kiddos get a couple years old, and my wife and I, we're dead serious. We're gonna go out, and we've had, over the past couple years, there's probably been 400 or 500 international, all the way from little stuff to big stuff. We're gonna call up everybody and we're gonna come visit you guys. So as long as I live to be there, that's the plan. Taking this dream and going international and just, you know, visiting, and because I mean, you guys have helped us grow, just like the local population and here across the country. So we appreciate everything. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. If you need anything at all, any Jeep part really, I mean, you can kind of tell what we like out here. The late Kaiser era into the AMCs, all the way up to your 06 TJs. We do a couple JKs. Not a huge fan of the Fiat brand on Jeep. I'm not going to dog on them too much, because I know there's a lot of people that still love Jeeps, and I do too. But problem is, they've turned into absolute pain in the asses for so many people out there that end up with electrical issues. So we just choose not to really play with them as much, but we do get them every once in a while, and we'll definitely sell you parts if we have them. So there's the man of the hour, and he's wanting to go home and slack off because he hasn't done anything today, he said.
Oh, you know how it is.
All right, thanks guys.